In May 2025, tensions between India and Pakistan escalated into one of the most severe confrontations since the Kargil War of 1999. This video delves into the events that led to this crisis, the military operations undertaken, and the global implications of this conflict. On April 22, 2025, a terrorist attack in Pahalgam, Indian-administered Kashmir, resulted in the deaths of 28 civilians, predominantly Hindu tourists. India attributed the attack to Pakistan-based militant groups, intensifying already strained relations between the two nations. The attack sent shockwaves through diplomatic channels. India reacted swiftly, framing the strike as an unforgivable provocation. Within hours, foreign ministries on both sides began drafting sharp statements and drawing diplomatic lines in the sand. In a historic move, India suspended the Indus Waters Treaty, a landmark water-sharing agreement that had survived multiple wars. Though symbolic at first, the move signaled a shift from diplomacy to hard pressure. Control over water, a vital lifeline for both nations, had now entered the battlefield of geopolitics. India closed the Attari-Wagah border, halting trade and transit. Diplomatic ties unraveled, with both countries expelling top envoys and suspending all visa services. For millions with family, business, or history across the divide, a hard curtain had fallen once again. On the morning of May 7th, India launched a decisive military operation codenamed Operation Sindoor. Authorized at the highest level, the mission was a direct response to mounting cross-border threats and intelligence pinpointing active militant hubs. As jets roared into the sky and missiles were armed, India signaled that the era of strategic restraint was over. The targets were located in Pakistan-administered Kashmir and parts of southern Punjab, camps linked to Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Taiba. Cruise missiles, precision bombs, and drone strikes hit with devastating accuracy, flattening key compounds. Initial reports confirmed dozens of militants killed, infrastructure destroyed, and panic spreading across the border. Operation Sindoor wasn't just a strike, it was a message. In swift response to Operation Sindoor, Pakistan launched Operation Bunyan al-Marsus, a major counterstrike intended to demonstrate military parity. Within hours, high-level command centers authorized targeted strikes, signaling a sharp turn in the conflict's tempo. The message was clear: Pakistan would not remain passive. Pakistani missiles were launched toward key Indian military installations, including the Pathankot airfield and the Udhampur air base. While Indian air defenses responded swiftly, some damage was reported, and several airstrips were temporarily shut down. The strikes marked a serious escalation, pushing both nations into dangerous, uncharted territory. The conflict's reach extended beyond the battlefield. In an unprecedented move, both the Indian Premier League and the Pakistan Super League were suspended mid-season. Stadiums went silent. Matches were cancelled. For millions of fans, the joy of cricket vanished overnight, replaced by uncertainty, fear, and national emergency. In border regions, life came to a standstill. Schools were closed indefinitely, buses stopped running, and daily routines were shattered by the constant sound of sirens and shelling. Families fled their homes in the dark, seeking safety in overcrowded shelters. What began as a military standoff had now become a humanitarian crisis. As India and Pakistan traded missile fire, the eyes of the world locked onto the subcontinent. Global headlines screamed of potential catastrophe, while analysts debated whether this was the most dangerous moment since Kargil. From military think tanks to late-night newsrooms, concern turned into fear. Would this spiral into a full-scale war between nuclear powers? World leaders wasted no time. The United States, China, France, and other G7 members issued urgent appeals for calm. Washington urged both sides to de-escalate. Beijing emphasized regional stability. Behind closed doors, phone lines burned between embassies and war rooms. The global community knew a single miscalculation could ignite a regional wildfire with global consequences. At the United Nations, an emergency session condemned the violence and urged immediate restraint. Across the globe, citizens took to the streets in London, New York, Istanbul, and Tokyo, chanting for peace. Hashtags like Nation Stop the War and Peace for Kashmir flooded social media. As tensions soared, the voice of the people, quiet but persistent, called for dialogue, not devastation. As the conflict deepened, a silent threat loomed large, the possibility of nuclear escalation. Both India and Pakistan possess strategic and tactical nuclear weapons, locked in a delicate balance of deterrence. While unspoken, the mere presence of these weapons added a terrifying layer to the crisis. Security analysts around the globe issued urgent warnings. A single miscalculation, a misread radar signal, or a rogue command could ignite catastrophe. The international community knew the stakes. A regional nuclear exchange would have global consequences, both humanitarian and environmental. Amid the fear, calls for calm grew louder. Diplomats, global leaders, and peace organizations demanded urgent de-escalation and a return to dialogue. In a world already scarred by war, one wrong step here could reshape history forever. The guns may have quieted, but the tension is far from over. As of now, both India and Pakistan remain on high alert, with their armies maintaining full operational readiness. Border areas, once bustling with life, now echo with silence and military patrols. Defense forces on both sides continue to monitor each other's movements. Fighter jets remain stationed on tarmacs. Air defenses stay locked in. Though large-scale operations have paused, the line between peace and provocation remains razor-thin. Behind the scenes, diplomatic channels have reopened. Mediators from neutral nations and international bodies are quietly working to cool tensions. But with mutual distrust and political pressure on both sides, the road to de-escalation remains fragile and uncertain. The 2025 India-Pakistan conflict exposed just how fragile peace in South Asia truly is. What began as a single attack quickly spiraled into a full-blown confrontation. The thin thread holding back devastation was stretched to its limit. Amid the chaos, one message rang clear. Only through dialogue and mutual understanding can long-term peace be achieved. History has shown that weapons may halt violence, but only conversations can stop wars from returning. This conflict stands not only as a warning, but as a lesson. The costs of unresolved tensions are too high. For both nations and the region at large, the path forward must be shaped by cooperation, not conflict. In the end, no missile, no soldier, no border truly defines a people. Not the barbed wire, not the lines on a map, but the hearts, the hopes, and the humanity we all share. It is in peace, not war, that nations rise. It is in understanding, not violence, that futures are built. We've seen what conflict destroys: homes, lives, dreams. But what if we imagine something different? A world where diplomacy replaces destruction, where children grow up under open skies, not air raid sirens, where we remember that across every border there are people, not enemies. Stop war, start peace, not just for today, but for every tomorrow. Thank you.